But I want to thank you for coming to the 30th annual member meeting and luncheon. Appreciate you being here. And I am Jonathan Kerr, the Executive Director for the Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce, if you didn't already know that. Last year, I didn't know many of you. This year, I know pretty much most of you. So thank you again for being here. Feel free to get up for more food as you'd like and that sort of stuff. I'm perfectly fine with everybody staring at their plates instead of me. So have at it. I'm going to begin, though. A reminder, hopefully this is working there. Yes, excellent. The Chamber's mission is to strengthen the 8 communities in our region by voicing support for and advocating the promotion of business. The Chamber is here for you. And what I always like to remind people and our business members is let me know if you need anything, and I can help out with that. So I'd like to thank the Westford Regency Inn and Conference Center for their hospitality, their fantastic service, and for always making our annual meeting such a special event. They do a great layout here, great food, and I'd like to give them a round of applause for that. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank as well a number of our corporate sponsors. There we go. Again, the signature sponsor, Regency Hotels. They do a lot for us, above and beyond the norm of what you might expect. Our premier sponsor, Emerson Hospital. The 110 Grill and Aviva Trattoria. So if you didn't know this, Aviva Cucina is now Aviva Trattoria. And hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it's all part of the 110 conglomerate. And they do a lot for us as well. Care One at Concord. Middlesex Savings Bank, Insulet Corporation, our newest diamond level sponsor, Jeanne d'Arc Credit Union. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right as well, as Jeanne d'Arc. Is that French enough? It's okay to laugh. All right. Our website sponsor, CMB Services. And for our annual meeting event sponsors, our keynote sponsor, Workers Credit Union. There you go, that's where they are. Platinum sponsor, Digital Federal Credit Union. Gold sponsor, Acton Urgent Care. It's also a new member. And our silver sponsors, Acton Pharmacy, Cambridge Savings Bank, and Ikaru. So thank you to them as well. Also like to thank Julie LaRue for our photography. J. LaRue Photography is the photography sponsor, so you'll see her wandering about and all that. She does an amazing job. Special thanks to our keynote speaker, Bill Rodgers, of course, for coming up from Boxborough, right? Awesome. I lived there for 20 years. I hope I didn't almost run you over at some point driving around. You're out running a lot. ActonTV. For their broadcast coverage of the event and general support that they give the Chamber. Thanks also to Amanda Scribner, Maura Haberman, Mark Ducey, and Luann Colombo for coming in around 10 o'clock or 10:30, whatever time it was, to help set up for the event as well. All right, and I know people are here because they want to hear Bill speak, but just a couple of things. We had a number of successful events this past year. The awards gala, of course, went very well. A number of awardees, obviously. Of note, it's coming up April 24th this year, and again, it'll be here at the Westford Regency, and they'll do another amazing job. I have faith. Chamber Fest, which was held at Rapscallion in Concord, was a big hit. And it was like a giant after hours, well over 100 there in attendance. Taste of Middlesex, we saw an increase in numbers there, close to 100, more than attended a previous year. And this year it is coming up on November 12th, which is a Tuesday, and that's going to be at the Boxborough Regency. So if you haven't been yet, it's great to go there. And the Boxborough Regency has this amazing, huge room that works perfectly for these kind of events. So check it out. And there's just our winners from the taste this year, which, you know, you can see here, 110 Grill, 110 Grill, 110 Grill, 110 Grill. Sorry. The Neshoba Tech kids won Best Dessert this year. I'm sorry, Peter Mahler. So, and Who's the other one? Oh, yes, Rapscallion for Best Beverage. So there you go. Just a reminder to check out the Chamber's website. You can log in. There's a lot of things you can do there. Besides the fact that it tells you who our new members are and scrolls those things up, you can do everything from creating member-to-member deals to creating landing pages. And I took a couple of our sponsors for that. And it's a good example. So they actually have pictures up. Hikaru actually has a video up you can see. But I just, it's good to utilize the website. It comes with a membership, and there's a lot you can do with it. And we do get the public looking at it. And of course, there's always our calendar for checking out any number of events that we have coming up throughout the year. March is a heavy month. Just a couple of quick upcoming events. We've got a Young Professionals Mixer happening on the 5th of March, and that's with Neshoba Valley Changers, combined event. And then we have the breakfast on March 8th. PWN, the Professional Women's Network Luncheon, is on March 13th, and that's going to be at Code Wiz. And then March 23rd, we're having a ribbon cutting for Silver Unicorn Bookstore. And then March 26th, and after hours at Life Care Center of Acton. So as you can see, there's a lot of stuff that we're doing, a lot of opportunity to get out there and meet others and network. So thank you again, all of you, for being here and continuing to support our changer. And Jeff, are you done eating yet? All right, I'd like to introduce the current president of the board, Jeff Turcotte.
John Kerr has worked extremely hard this year. And did a lot of the work by himself without an assistant. Jolene Trotta, who is our events coordinator, has moved on to a different position, and we haven't replaced that position yet. But John picked up the reins and did an awful lot of the work that she did on his own, of course with help from us in this room as well. But I want to give John a big round of applause too. So finally, I want to thank you, the members of the Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce. I say thank you. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you for all of your advice. Thank you for your kindness. And most of all, thank you for your dedication to our chamber. Thank you. Okay, now we'll call to order the meeting of the annual meeting of the Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce. So, Clerk Jennifer Scobo, do you have a quorum to hold the annual meeting of the members? Thank you. At this time, I would like to call the 30th annual meeting of members of the Middlesex West Chamber of Commerce to order. A representative from each business member will please respond to the following motions. So, as I ask for a motion, if you could just raise your hand and as we go through this. So, may I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes of the 2018 annual meeting? So moved. Bill Mullen, second by Amanda Scribner. Thank you. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Nominating committee would like to inform you, the members, of the following slate of individuals who have been nominated to serve on the Chamber's Board of Directors for a 3-year term. It is my pleasure to present to you the following persons. Brad Fitz, Assistant Vice President and Business Development Officer at Cambridge Savings Bank. Matthew Selby, Director of Land Use and Economic Development, Town of Acton. There having been no further nominations by petition, the nominations are declared closed. Okay, so is there a motion to accept the slate of nominees as presented to the membership? So moved. Bill Mullen, second. Don Ludwig. Thank you. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Congratulations. We thank the slate of the new board members for accepting this leadership role with the Chamber, and congratulations to each of you. Okay. So now we're going to vote to approve the slate of directors in their continuing terms. I'd like to inform you, the members of the following slate of nominees of current members of the Board of Directors who have been nominated by the nominating committee to continue their service as the Chamber's Board of Directors for a one-year term. It is my pleasure to present to you the following individuals. Patricia Chisholm, Middlesex Savings Bank. Well, we can give Patty a round of applause, too. Lester Gould, Gould's Clothing. Peter Mahler, Concord Tea Cakes. Cindy McCullough, One-on-One Self-Indulgent Spa. And yours truly, Jeffrey Charcot, Workers Credit Union. May I have a motion to accept the slate of nominees as presented by the membership? So moved. Bill Mullen, and second by Jen Scobo. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion is passed unanimously. We owe all of these individuals a great deal of thanks. Their efforts have been a key factor in the continuing success of our chamber. They have contributed many hours of their own time and energy on behalf of the chamber. We are indebted to each of you and truly appreciate all of your work, and thank you. Okay. Retiring board members. The chamber wants to take a moment to recognize our directors now ending their term on the board of directors. We owe them a great deal of thanks for their commitment and service to the chamber. If you could please stand when I mention your name and we'll recognize you. Maura Haberman, Acton Recreational. Elijah Martin Merrill, Not Your Problem, who I don't think is in attendance. Jennifer Scobo, Cambridge Savings Bank. And Amanda Scribner, Visiting Angels. Thank you again for your dedication. So I call for a motion to adjourn the annual meeting of members. So moved. Bill Mullen, second, Tony Rivera. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Okay, so the next part of this meeting is going to be a meeting of the directors. So I will now call the annual meeting of directors to order. And any motions to be made and seconded must be by the current director. Now that the members who are here today have nominated the board members, we direct the next motions to the board member directors only. May we have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes from the 2018 annual meeting of directors? Don Ludwig, second. Selby, thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. May I have a motion to ratify and approve the election of the previously named directors for the terms as previously designated? Mark, and seconded by Selby. Thank you. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Executive committee members. May I have a motion to elect the named may I have a motion to elect the named executive committee members as follows? And please rise when your name is mentioned. President, Don Ludwig, Ludwig Agency. Vice President, Peter Daniel, Rapscallion Tap and Table. Treasurer, Peter Mahler, Concord Tea Cakes. Clerk, Shannon Dutcher, Concord's Colonial Inn. And past president, myself, Jeffrey Charcot, Workers Credit Union. So who would like to make that motion? Don and Selby. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? The motion is passed unanimously. Thank you very much. That's a pretty powerful executive committee, I think. And I think the meetings might be moved to Thursday afternoons at Rapscallion, actually, around 3 o'clock. To conclude, may I have a motion to adjourn the annual meeting of the director portion of this luncheon meeting? Amanda and Maura. Do I have all in favor? Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, and this concludes the business portion of our 2019 annual meeting.
I do want to thank as well. We have, so that you understand some of the definition of what happened during the technical part of the meeting. When board members are voted on for a 3-year tenure, when they reach that 3-year tenure, they have the option of continuing on as a board member. So the ones that we voted on for a 1-year continuance, that's what that was about. So we do have other board members that are on the board that are still mid-tenure. And I just want to put a thank you out to Tom Popson with Mortgage Network, Mark Ducey, ActonTV, Luann Colombo with Juice Plus, and Mike Hashy with Emerson Hospital. And I believe that's everybody. There were 16 on the board. So it's a good size. So thank you very much for your continued support. Again, we started selling the 50/50 raffle tickets that'll be drawn at the awards gala on April 24th. It's $20 a ticket. It supports our scholarship fund, and you get 50% of the drawing. I think, there we go, Amanda has the tickets. And also, just a note, if at your place setting there are nomination forms for the awards gala, please feel free to fill those out. It could be any business person, that sort of thing. It's not specifically chamber required that they be a member of the chamber. And then you can leave those at the table or leave them on a registration desk when you head out this afternoon. As well, we do try and collect the name tags back. Those little plastic things add up. So if you remember, feel free to drop them off at the registration table as well. All right, we're now going to go into celebrating membership anniversaries. There are a lot of them. All right. And Jeff, I'm going to have to ask you to come climbing back at least up to the front. So he doesn't need to come up on stage. So when you hear your business called, if you could come forward, accept your certificate and award for your anniversary membership, that'd be great. I only have the ones up here for people who registered. So if somebody came in the door late and you have an anniversary and I didn't know you were here, we'll have to get it to you later. But I think we'll be okay. All righty. So we do this for members celebrating the 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, and now, of course, the 30th year anniversaries. So please come forward as you were announced. At a note, Julie will be taking a quick photo of you with the certificate and us. So, celebrating 5 years of chamber membership. The 110 Grill. Care One at Concord. Colonial Chevrolet of Acton, Comfort Care Home Care, Concord Flower Shop. So those are the ones that aren't here. So Aviva Trattoria, which went from Aviva Cucina to Aviva Trattoria, of course. All right, 5 years continuing. Household Goods, Inc. This one will be interesting. J. LaRue Photography. So how are you going to take a picture of yourself? Wait, I have an idea here. Hold on. The Ludwig Agency. Pete's Plumbing and Heating, P.S. Berube Construction Design Build, Raffinelli and Kittredge PC, and Rapscallion Table and Tap. Alrighty, celebrating, there we go. Nope. Yes. Okay. 10 years. ActonTV. There's Mark. Alrighty. The Goddard School, ISS Inc., Levitt Law Group. Alrighty, celebrating 15 years. Acton-Boxborough Regional School District. Alpha Business Group. All righty. Catherine Meeks Fine Art and Design, and EAV Inc. "20 years, Colonial Figure Skating Club and Perennial Advisors Group. "25 years, all righty. The Boxborough Insurance Agency and Indian Hill Music. Did Indian Hill make it? You're here, right? Indian Hill? Yep, come on up. Just a side note that the Chamber has over, I think, 22 nonprofit charitable organizations that are members of the Chamber. So, all right, here we go. 30-year anniversaries. You made it. And it's nice to see a pretty good list. Did I change things? Am I at 30? Okay. All righty. Acton-Boxborough United Way. Avery and Associates. Jonathan here? Yep. Colonial Spirits, Coughlin Chef and Associates, Gallant Insurance Agency, Gatehouse Media, Wicked Local. Did Pam make it? They were so ahead of the game that they made it yesterday. They're always ahead for you. Idlewild Farm, Gould's Clothing. You can't keep up with these guys in their clothing. Joseph G. Perry Plumbing and Heating, and Middlesex Savings Bank. Well, all right, there we go. All righty, so there we go, 30 years, and it's quite a list that we have. It's nice to see that. So thanks for sticking with us the entire time. I think we're done, Jeff. Oh, do you need crutches to get back to them? All right. So I'll introduce Don. All right, so thank you again to all of you for your continued investment in our chamber organization. We look forward to many more years with you. Thanks again to our sponsors. I just want to add in a note there as well that it's not always just the financial support. The volume of moral support I get from our sponsors as well is pretty important. When they're helping me at an event or taking care of things for me at an event or even before that and providing guidance and mentorship, it's really appreciated. So thank you so much. It is my pleasure now to introduce the Chamber's new president, Don Ludwig.
Thank you all for coming. Wanted to take a moment to thank Jeff for his visioning and his leadership this past year. He left some pretty big shoes to fill. Seriously, I mean, look at his shoes. But, to be brief, because we have Bill and we really want to get him going, I just want to add on what Jeff said. I think the quality of the events was our charter for this past year, and I think by the attendance numbers, I think we've, are on the right path there. If I were to put a theme that I would choose for this year, it's going to be engagement. And our hope is that by putting quality events on, we can engage you more and have you more engaged with the chamber. So on that note, please stop me, talk to me, let me know if there's things you think we can do better, things you think you wish we would do. Engagement also means you guys being engaged, talking to other business people in the community that friends, family, get them out to our events, bring somebody along. We're all ambassadors of the chamber. We really are only as good as the people, and I think we have a fantastic group. We have a fantastic turnout today, and I appreciate that. And I really want to thank everybody for coming out today. Okay, without further ado, I think this gentleman needs no introduction. I think he's a Boston legend. I think most of you probably know who he is. If you don't, you will shortly. There's a nice bio on the back of the agenda. But let me introduce you all to Bill Rodgers.
Tricky going upstairs. And I used to run up Heartbreak Hill. Now, I want to thank you for inviting me today to your annual meeting and celebrate and salute everyone who's contributed to Chamber of Commerce. And I recognize a lot of the names. I run everywhere. That's what you do when you're a marathoner. You got to put in the miles. It's an interesting sport, and in a lot of different ways. But maybe I'll tell you a little bit about how it became. How I got to running Boston, the Boston Marathon. It's not like when I began running as a high school kid when I was 15, and in the 60s, because President Kennedy was our president in those days. There was the whole, his commentary, the President's Council on Physical Fitness and Sports, that sort of thing. And so they had a gym class mile, so I ran the mile. And because I rode my bike a lot as a kid, I think I ran faster. So they started a cross-country team for the first time, and so I joined the cross-country team with my brother and our best friend, And we rode our bikes a lot, and I think I see that revival going on now all across the country, and people are becoming more active. We all want that. We want our health, but when I was a 15-year-old kid, we didn't run very much. It's not like today. The high schoolers of today, whoa, they are a piece of work. They are training so much, and it's such a much higher level than my day, my era, or whatever, way back. And so they're very high level. Our national track team, we're the top track team in the world. A lot of competition, 210 countries in the world. But so our collegiate system is that program that develops our young high schoolers and onwards. But what happened to me was I went to a small college in Connecticut, and my roommate, he was just kind of a strange dude. Because this is 1968, and he had this dream. He wanted to win the Boston Marathon. I ran cross country with him and track and everything, and he got me to do my first longer runs and everything, which I was not used to. But he had his high school coach, an English teacher, had won the Boston Marathon way back in 1957. He was the only American to win in that decade, Johnny Kelly. the younger, from Groton, Mass. And so my roommate, Ambrose Burfoot is his name, unusual name, and a very interesting guy, but he, we didn't know what to think of him. He was the only one on our team who was running the marathon. Why would you want to run 26 miles, you know? And it wasn't on TV in those days. And so we really didn't know what it was about. And I remember going on some training runs with him. But the day of the Boston Marathon, which was always held on a Monday, we had a track meet with the University of Connecticut. But we heard Amby won. And Amy had this, you know, as his roommate, he had this record from the Broadway play The Fantastics, The Man of La Mancha. You know what I mean? Up here. The Man of La Mancha, to dream the impossible dream, that sort of thing. Powerful stuff. I thought he was, but he did win. He came back to college. He didn't have his medal. Today we all wear medals and everything, you know, but he didn't have his medal. I never even saw it. But it sunk in maybe in a certain way. But in a nutshell, after college, you know, to me, running was a team sport. And like any other sport, and you really can't make it alone. Just like the Chamber of Commerce or in your business, you don't make it alone. It's through your working together successfully you succeed. And so I learned that, I guess, in a way. Anyway, I moved to Boston. I'm from Hartford originally, and quit running. I'm a Winston smoker, I was a Winston smoker for a few years, and I quit running. I was an ex-runner because I'm done, you know, not with the team anymore. And I worked at a local hospital. I worked at the Brigham for a couple of years and everything. And when I worked at the Brigham, a couple of things happened. First, I saw you know, some of the patients. I had one patient. I was an escort messenger. I took people all over the hospital, blood samples, that sort of thing. And I took one guy down to the operating room for tests or something, and I had my Winstons here. He said, you shouldn't smoke those, you know. Well, I took him back up to his room, and he lit up a cigarette, you know, and I knew. Yeah, it is definitely, it wakes your mind up when you work in a hospital, you know. It's kind of tough. Saw some people who were really, really struggling. At the time, I had a motorcycle. That was my mode of transportation. I was at a local pub in Boston, and it got stolen. Had no way to get to work. I borrowed $1,000 from my roommate, my old high school friend in track and field, to buy that motorcycle. So that was the end of that. You know, I had no way to get to work. I didn't like taking the T. I started running to work. I joined the Boston Y. And when I was in the Y, running around those laps, I said, you know, I'm going to go back to running. Running makes you happy. It sounds silly. In fact, well, we now know it scientifically. You know, dopamine to the brain and everything, and you used to call it the runner's high or whatever. Whatever you call it, it works. And so I joined the Y, and first, they had a 160-meter track. It was this little track way up in the air, and you know, and all the old-timers were beating me. But then it became spring, and I lived near Fenway. I lived on Westland Ave, near the Christian Science Church, and I got outside again, and it was just like going back to my youth. You know, I said, I can run again. I can run, you know, and everyone at the Y, people were talking about the Boston Marathon, and so I started running more and more, putting my miles in, and I joined the Boston Athletic Association, and there was a race put on by a auto company, Silver Lake Dodge, a 30K. I came in third in this race. I said, I'm back, you know, and I got an entry via a gentleman at the BAA named Jock Semple, and to run the Boston, and I thought I was going to do pretty well, because I had done pretty well in some New England road races. I got crushed, you know. The marathon is a good place to get crushed. It's very enlightening. It's an enlightening experience. I made it to the top of Heartbreak Hill, but it was one of those New England spring days. You know, we go from the cold of winter. It's tough training in New England, the Midwest, Montana, North Dakota, places like this. Then you come to Boston, and we get that 3 days of spring where it goes, you know, 65, 70, 75. 75 is good for some sports, but not for the marathon. Because in the marathon, your body temperature goes way up. It's nonstop, pretty much nonstop. You're trying to go out there and compete. And I didn't know what I was doing. The Boston Marathon starts in Hopkinton. You're going downhill about a half a mile down the hill, and it's crank out. And I had no idea. I thought I was running like cross country. I had to go fast on this hill and stay up with these people. And so in a nutshell, I was on the side of the road, and cramps in my hamstrings, my calves. I hated marathoning, so I quit running for 3 months. I quit running. I tried to move to California because I knew I have to train. I have to be able to get better at this. I have to train where warmer weather is. Moved to California, but didn't know anyone there. No money, no contacts. So my wife and I, we got back in our car. I drove back home, and it turned out to be a good move. And Joan Benoit Samuelson told me once, you got to train where you're happy. Someone was talking to her about her. She's from Maine. I said, why don't you should move to altitude? Because all the top runners of the world train at altitude. She says, no, you got to be happy where you are. And that worked for her. She took the gold in L.A. and first woman to take the Olympic marathon gold medal. So I think it worked for me in a way too. And I think that joining a running club was key for me. We had a great coach, Coach Billy Squires, who was nearly made the Olympic team for us way back, and Greater Boston Track Club was a powerful force. Alberto Salazar from Wayland took Boston years later. Greg Meyer from Michigan came in to the Boston area. We all trained together, and but what I like about running is this kind of a sport, and swimming and cycling. The door is open. Anyone can do these sports. You don't need any special requirements. It's your mind. It's your mind and your heart. Because we can all build our heart 20%. It's just like lifting weights. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I once replaced him at a gig, by the way. Yeah, but I never met him. Would have liked to have met him, but interesting guy. But I think the door is open, and so these sports are on a boom. And all over the world now, there's been a Frank Schroeder who took the gold medal in Munich, Germany for us in the Olympic marathon, kind of created the running boom, which has happened here in Boston too. And then, of course, women came into the sport. And our sport was so backwards. It was in the 19th century. They're still kind of like that because it's the Olympics. It's hard to change the Olympics, Olympic sports and everything. But and I still remember the first woman ever to run Boston. She ran before I ran it. She ran it in 1966, Roberta Gibb from the Rockport area. And she just jumped in. She wanted to run, And but what happened was the Olympic organization, there was no knowledge of exercise science then. They thought it was bad for a woman to run so far, and it was completely wrong. And now women are half the sport. There might be about 30 million runners and walkers in America, and all over the world, there's hundreds of marathons. Every major city in the world has a marathon now with 30,000 people. And you name the city, so because the door is open. And we can all kind of find what we want. But I think the marathon is, I don't know, to me it's just a quest. It's just a quest. Can I do it? Can I knock it off? And it's fascinating, though, because now you also, I'm starting to see these older people out there. And I've been running so long, they can all beat me. Because I'm like an old car that's been used for 50 years, and the tires are bald and the radiator's going. And so I'm really kind of like, it's tough. And so I don't want to run the marathon anymore. But some of these new older people it's like a revolution is going on in the sports world. But it's not a big money sport. There was no money when I ran it. Very nice gold medal. It was more the honor. Where are you in the world of marathoning as an athlete, that sort of thing. And but today the prize money is there. It's going up and up and up. I think it's going to keep rising because international sport. And anyway, I don't know. My brother Charlie and I, on the business side, we started a running store in Boston. We wanted it to be more than just a retail store. We wanted it to be a center where we could talk about these things and work with a lot of different people and talk to them, because it's hard to get going. You won't get going unless someone helps you. So for me, it was my brother and Jason, my best friend. It's hard to get going on your own. So my brother Charlie was actually the manager of our store while I was out going to races, and I had a lot of fun because I felt I was representing the country. If I went to Japan and ran the Kyoto Marathon, sister city of Boston, I felt I was representing the U.S. And I go with my friend Tom Fleming from New Jersey, or go to Stockholm, Sweden, and race against the top Swedes, whoever was there, because it is a country thing. It's just like the Olympics, and it's going on all the time. It's a very competitive sport. But I also opened a clothing line. 40 years ago, there was terrible clothing. I think that's why there weren't that many runners. The clothes, it was just, those big gray sweats you used to wear? My first half marathon, I ran with my college friend, Amby, who was trying to win Boston. He's probably wanted someone to run with. We ran some little rinky-dink race in a blizzard. I froze. That was very bad. So when it's so terrible in the New England weather, New England is hard weather. Then Gore-Tex started their company, and I started a company after Frank Shorter started Frank Shorter Sports. I started a company. I used my name, BR Gear, and we got up to about $8 million a year before. And Frank did too, before the heavyweights, Nike came in, and New Balance, and all the shoe companies started making running gear. So now the gear is really good, and, people are out there more. You need to be comfortable at least as much as possible when you go out on these cold days, Anyway, I've been a runner all my life. I still run. I ran in Hyannis this weekend with 3 of my buddies. Your training partners are everything. Otherwise, we won't get out the door. But I've got a copy of, I did a book a few years ago. I've got a copy of my book over there. If anyone would like a copy of my book, I sign it and everything. Maybe for your son or daughter who might run cross country or track and field. And it's more about becoming a runner, and am I trying to win Boston? But anyway, I wonder if anyone has any questions. I can try to answer your questions. Must be some. Yes, sir. Yes.
No, rumor has it that you've won the marathon before. Can you share one or two of those times and the times that you did compared to the times that they're doing today?
Yeah, the times when I was running the marathon, I ran the marathon. Actually, my last marathon was 2009. And I ran that year because I had turned 60 the year before, and I was hit with cancer, so I got knocked back. And as many of us will be hit with this, But the cool thing about running in the marathon is so much money is raised today through fantastic organizations. So I just wanted to get the word out there about that you can make comebacks. You can keep your health, you can keep going, we can have good lives no matter what. In many instances, But when I was younger, running Boston, it took me 3 years to learn the course. When you learn the course, it's just like if you were on your cross-country course, running when you were younger, and you know your course. So when the other team comes in, they don't know where they're running. You have an edge. So for me, in my 3rd year, I was able to win, but it's very tricky. Then I thought, well, now I'm going to win. I'm going to win my next one. And I went to a race in Holland, crazy, and I talked to Frank Shorter, and I said, Frank, should ask them for a fee because things were changing from amateurism to professionalism, and Boston never offered any money, but it was starting to pop up here and there, and he said, yeah, ask for $1,000. So I asked for $1,000, and because my wife couldn't go with me, they had offered me a vacation, come to Holland. It was in Holland. And so I went over there, and I think I'm going to win. Well, I made it, dropped out, hit the wall at the 30K mark, and there's the 74 Boston Marathon winner with me. And this older guy, who I had just beaten in Boston, won the race. And I was kind of making fun of him because he was older. He went on to win the race. And so it's like, and it was crazy. Years later, I went back to Holland again, and I found out I got paid in Dutch money. It wasn't the equivalent of $1,000. But the next time I went back, they said, "We'll pay you, but you got to finish." And very good. It was good, but I did win. So I did get that win. But Boston is fun. A lot of my friends are still running it. You know, I love to go there. I love to be at the finish and see these people coming in, and they're giving it everything. It's 110%, you know, and some of the stories knock you right out. It's unbelievable. You know, some of the older people, some of the people, you see someone coming in with one leg. You know, I was running with once I was running the Oklahoma City Memorial Marathon, and I saw this guy ahead of me, a black guy, and he had that curved prosthesis for his leg. He's like, and he's ahead of me. I was running the half. I said, how is this guy ahead of me? This guy is tough as nails. I'm going to beat him, though. I can't let this guy beat me. He has one leg only. I respect him, you know, but later I read in the paper that this guy was on his motorcycle, and someone went through a light and nailed him, you know, and he woke up in the hospital, and 2 days later, the Ironman triathlon was on TV. And, you know, he was afraid he was going to lose his leg, and he did, and he said, I'm going to do that. So he made his comeback. I call that making a comeback. Making a comeback. So that's what you see when you watch the Boston Marathon. And then you see these new people who have never run a step in their lives. I know this one woman, she has serious breast cancer, you know, and she is out there no matter what, no matter her hard treatments, you know, stay alive, tough. But she does have, you know, that old term, the eye of the tiger, that's in our sport. It's in our sport in a million different ways, you know. So our sport, it's got everything. But I'm not a marathoner anymore. I love to cheer everyone on, but, you know, I want to hang out and have fun. I did 60 marathons. The world best, the record for most marathons is held by a Texas lawyer. And this guy is a piece of work. No, he has incredible mind or something, or else he's crazy. Because he's done 2,000 marathons. And he's a lawyer. He's a practicing lawyer, I think. I think he's like 7 years old or something, but he's just like a machine. It's just, I can't believe it. I've done 60 marathons, which to me that's plenty. I don't want to do any more. Johnny Kelly, the elder who led New England marathoning for so many years and has the record still to this day, no runner from anywhere in the world he has 61 Bostons. So he ran Boston until he was like 85. I'm like, how did he do it? Anyway, I think if you decide to get into a sport like running, there's a good way to do it, and that is to get some really good running shoes, your local running store. In Acton, it's Mark's Running, you know, and use the method called the Galloway method, and that's where you run a little bit, and it might be 100 yards, you know, and then you walk 100 yards, or you walk 3 minutes and you run 5 minutes, because we have this. We're unique in the animal kingdom here, okay? Because we got a huge heart. That's how, and we have this heart. We can run and run and run. We're not very quick, you know. Even Usain Bolt, the greatest sprinter of all time, and like Carl Lewis or something, not that fast. But we have a huge heart, so we can all build our heart. I think the best sport maybe is walking, because you don't get injured. You know, you don't get injured. But the gentleman with the crutches here, Mr. Turcotte, I had those 15 years ago. You will come back. You will come back. Yes, sir.
Did you have any sponsors when you were younger? Who was your first sponsor, and how did you get to each city?
Yeah.
There was no money in it.
Yeah, there was no money. This was strictly amateur sport. It was like, you know, this is the way, because if you broke the rules, you heard of Jim Thorpe, Wes Santee was our miler in the days of Roger Bannister, the first man to break the 4-minute mile, when runners all over the world trying, can this be done by a human being, you know? And but it was because the ethos or the understanding that you represent your country, which all athletes from all over the world are proud, and it's an honor, you know, it's an honor. But at the same time, the athletes, we felt that why shouldn't we be able to be paid? You're in business. This is what we do best. Why shouldn't you be paid for what you do best? Of course you should. But it was hard to change that. And here in the U.S., we formed an organization and with about 60 of us, the top runners, some foreign runners there as well, and put on the first prize money race in America in about 80 years. There used to be some prize money and gambling and that sort of thing going on, like in Madison Square Garden, going back 100 years when running was big at that time too. But I didn't have a sponsor at first, but when I won Boston, I actually, I signed a deal with ASICS, Japanese shoe company. I had talked to New Balance and Nike. I should have signed with one of them. Decisions. No, actually with ASICS, the shoes were great. And your shoes are key. You want to love your shoes, you know, and be comfortable and as best as possible. And but years later, I did some other things in business, but nothing too much. Our sport is still kind of a growing sport. I think the future years, I think it's going to get bigger and bigger. I'm looking for the day they give $1 million first prize. They give 100, 150 now. There's some other races, but what you don't see is what's behind the scene. The best marathoners in the world get appearance money. It may be in other sports. I'm not sure if it's in tennis and golf so much. I don't think there, but it used to be. But in marathoning, the top marathoners of today, they run 2 a year. The best guy in the world today is a Kenyan guy, Eliud Kipchoge, and he might get $500,000 to get on the line, you know, or more, something like that. So the money is coming up, but it should. It should, because you're talking global competition. So to me, the more the competition, the more the reward should be there, you know. So those are the changes, really, and it's fantastic to see the sport grow. But sport needs sponsors. So you guys, we're going to talk to you. But actually, I want to salute John Hancock, because Boston was struggling. It was really struggling. They didn't want to change, because they were the first, you know, and the oldest marathoners in the world. They came out of the 1896 Olympic Games, and they didn't want to change. They said, well, the top runners will come here no matter what. But now you're talking about in Ethiopia and Kenya, per capita income is $2,000 a year. You in Boston, you're doing very well. Do you know what I'm saying to you? You know what I mean? So you're gonna go where the money is. So London started up, and Pittsburgh. And actually, I actually had a deal to do Pittsburgh, but the Hancock folks said, no, we don't want you to do it. We want you to put all your focus in Boston. And I said, yes, of course, I will do that. I didn't realize. But today, they love the Boston Marathon and have played a big role with, they raised $38 million last year at Boston. That's pretty good money. That's big money. And for a lot of 30 different organizations in New England, Massachusetts. So great to see. Yes. We. The most fun race I ever ran? Well, winning was fun. But the bad thing is sometimes, you know, you're always trying to be up there. You're trying to be up there. And sometimes you think you can be up there and you get crushed. I actually made our Olympic team, and I was ranked #1 marathoner in the world the year before. You know, but in the Olympics I got crushed. I was 40th place. You know, I hit the wall. I got dehydrated. People were yelling at me to drop out. You know, but I said, no, I'm going to finish. You know, I have to finish. It's the Olympic Games, and very tricky. But for every single time I'm out there, I have fun. But sometimes it can be a grueling sport. When it's hot, then The marathon is really hard. If it's an average day, if it's 60 degrees, 65, 45, 50, it's not a piece of cake, but it's kind of fun because you can be out there with your friends and talking with your friends. And hey, during the Cold War, me and my good buddy Tom Fleming, we go to Japan and we would race the Russians, and I wonder if we can beat them, and who are they? And I knew who they were, and sometimes we would win. And then later, I remember meeting this top Russian guy. He couldn't speak any English, but I would talk about, well, some famous American, Mark Twain. They like Mark Twain in Russia, but certain writers they didn't like, because this guy was a serious communist, Well, I went to the Moscow Marathon many years later, and I met him. I met his wife and his family, and it was fantastic. He was, when I met him in Japan, he gave me some Russian vodka. He wanted American jeans, And I got to just have a chance to see things happening. I saw Gorbachev in Lenin Stadium when he and Ronald Reagan were changing the world. So you see these things, and it's like, this is fun. This is fun. So cool to see all that sort of thing. But having fun in racing, it's always fun. You're out there with your friends. If you can run with your friends and your family or be out there with your friends and your family, then you got it made. And my brother Charlie still runs. My girlfriend's a runner. I don't know. Now I'm trying to swim a little bit, and that is a hard sport. Yes. Yes. You mean in Massachusetts? No? Anywhere in the world? I love Sweden, Stockholm. It's beautiful. It's a little bit like New York, but beautiful places to run. Oslo, Norway. I ran in Norway. I ran a 5K on the track in Norway. And I went out of the city, and you find these trails where all the runners are going, and I like to run the trails. When you get older, it's getting tricky. And you just, I run about 20% of what I used to. I take more days off, have to, because everything is recovery. Just like we saw the Patriots take the Super Bowl, and Tom Brady, and how he is as an athlete and how he's living and how all athletes are higher level today because the science of exercise is on the scene. The scientists are there, and and it's so competitive in the sports world today, much different than way back, even in my day. But so that was fun. Went to Finland, ran in the woods there and everything. I love running in Japan because running is very high level. 300,000 people tried to enter the Tokyo Marathon. 300,000. 30,000 run it. So that's a sign of the growth of the sport. Running is big in China. The Rock and Roll Marathon, which was begun here in the U.S., that organization was bought by a Chinese organization. They also bought the Ironman. And so the boom is global. It's every country, there's a Warsaw Marathon, there's a Paris Marathon, every city, So it's good because there's a Rome Marathon. There's a movie about the Rome Marathon. And they interview all these runners from Italy, and it's just inspiring to see what they say, It's not the professional runners. I'm talking about every runner. It's like what you've been at it for 30 years. It's the kind of sport that catches you. And even if you have your downfalls, and we all have our downfalls, I was on crutches, like I said. But I never had surgery. And there's a lot of myths in sports and about running. Running, it's not your knees. I never had knee injuries in my life. And usually you'll get injured if you do too much, too soon. You should ease into the sport, like I said, the run walk, and you have good shoes, and that sort of thing. And maybe you do, or if you don't like running, you've got to find the sport you love. That's all there is to it, I think, in the end. Yeah, I tried the other sports when I was younger and everything, but I ended up in running. But it's good fun. I like it that you're all in the business world. It's very interesting and very exciting, and I'm still in it a little bit. I want to thank you very much. Maybe I should sit down. Okay. Good luck, your businesses. Thank you. And the Regency. Yes.